All right, welcome. I'm going to be talking about the clair abilities that intuitive people tend to hone in on when they start to realize the gifts that they have. Now, you've probably heard other psychics or psychic mediums say that everyone has psychic abilities, which is correct. Empaths tend to experience these more, or to degrees where they begin to kind of question exactly what is going on with them and is what I'm experiencing normal. So I'm going to go over these particular abilities and why they are even important to consider, because if you even take a look at either certain things that interest you, things that you gravitate towards, or perhaps your career choices at this point, it'll tell you something about your intuitive abilities. So I'm going to reference some of my notes here, so if you see me looking off to the side, that's what I'm doing. The first one that we're going to talk about is clairvoyance. This is called clairseeing. So, when we say clair followed by, the suffix of the word clair means clear. So, it comes from a French term, but clairvoyance means clear seeing. So, if you are someone who suddenly gets flashes, either visions, images, I have clients who tell me that all of a sudden they just see people's faces for no reason. That happens a lot in healing sessions too when I'm doing Reiki on someone, but it can really happen at any time. So visions of the past, people or things that could be going on presently. Sometimes people have visions of things that happen in the future. This can even happen kind of like a daydream. I kind of describe it as sometimes it almost seems like a little mini clip of like a mini movie that occurs, and it just can kind of come out of nowhere. Those who tend to be really highly visual and able to pick out details really well. So, for example, like a sketch artist, where someone's describing something to them, a person, and they can draw that out. They tend to be really clairvoyant. So, those who are artists, builders, photographers, decorators, designers, if that describes you or things that you're either interested in or part of your career choice, most likely you have clairvoyant tendencies with those abilities. Okay, it's a very dominant sense for a lot of people. It's for me, it's one of my stronger abilities. Okay, clairaudience means clear hearing. So this is often when you, for some reason, can hear words that tend to repeat, sounds or music, almost like, and there's nothing even necessarily playing, but it's almost like the voice of your mind, if that makes any sense. On rare occasions, spirit itself, whether that's like a past loved one or something, can create an audible voice that you can hear. It takes a super amount of energy to be able to do that. For paranormal investigators, it's called a disembodied voice. That sometimes people, either, I've heard this, but sometimes people can hear, even in a group, in a room full of people, some people can hear it and other people can't. Sometimes one of the theories with that is that spirit can actually choose who it is that they want to hear what's being said. But when it comes to clear hearing, for me, when this shows up, it's words, it's phrases, it's a message. It can be any of those things, really. So if you have really sharp hearing, so for example, musicians, singers, writers, public speakers, they tend to be more clairaudient than most. Okay, so this is a strong sense for a lot of people that I know. For me, it's about medium, but it is further up there on the list. Clairsentience means clear feeling. And this is where a lot of empaths tend to describe their abilities, where they can feel the emotions of other people. But this can also include where you can feel other people's pain or other symptoms that they're having. Okay, and for some of us, with the feeling part, it can just come out of nowhere. So the thing is, sometimes we feel like it's ours. And this is the whole point with empaths, that they really need to be able to know what their own energy feels like in order to understand that they're actually experiencing somebody else's energy or absorbing someone else's energy, and it's really not their own thing. So that's also something that I teach. But clear feeling has to do with being able to know whose it is and who it's belonging to, and tuning into that other person's energy. So, a lot of empaths tend to pick caregiver type of roles. So if you are a caregiver, doctor, therapist, nurse, counselor, nanny, a teacher, most likely clairsentience is something that is towards the top of your list. Okay, clairsentience too, if you do have like mediumship type of abilities, you might be able to sense when a spirit is around you. For me, that always presents as chills, typically my shoulders and arms. This is a very common thing for me, especially if I'm in a healing session with someone, or someone's describing their past loved one or something like that to me, then I can feel if they're there. Clairalience means clear smelling, which I know may sound really, really strange. This is not one of my stronger ones, but this is where you can smell something even though there isn't something to be smelling. Okay, so a lot of times this happens when there is the presence of a past person there. Oftentimes it could be like grandma's perfume. I know that showed up in a class I was in with a number of people who were in this group. Elise was able to smell my grandmother's perfume. my dad, a long time ago, in the home that had a lot of paranormal activity in it, he would smell my grandfather's cigarettes. And there was a time in my previous apartment with my husband, we smelled, I should say, it wasn't me actually, it was him, I should say. I felt the presence, but he smelled in our kitchen when there was nothing absolutely going on in the kitchen, like chicken, like comfort type of food, like savory chicken was being cooked on the stove, and I didn't smell it, he did. And so when I went over to the stove, here's my clairsentience, I placed my hand over the stove, and it was heat coming off the stove, and the stove wasn't on. So clairalience oftentimes occurs when it's more of a spirit wanting you to know who they are and that they're there. Okay, so for those who, as far as occupation, florist, wine taster, perfume, fragrance creator, if that speaks to you, then most likely you have a strong clairalience ability. Clairgustance means clear tasting. I've probably only experienced this once or twice in my life, but it's the ability to taste something even when it's not present. So most likely, if you've got clairalience going on, you probably have clairgustance as an ability of yours. And this can come out of the blue, also again for the same reason. Deceased loved one, wants you to know that they're there, and that's one of the ways that they can do that. So if you have a heightened sense of taste, natural chef, baker, food critic, if that speaks to you, then most likely this is a strong ability of yours. Claircognizance is clear knowing. This is a stronger one of mine as well, where it's almost like you get knowledge. I like to call it downloads, but you get knowledge where you previously either haven't studied or known anything. It just seems to kind of drop in your head, just simply out of the blue. So you might get a premonition, like a forewarning of something. A good example would be like, normally you take a certain route to work and then you're about to leave, and for some reason you are like, I shouldn't take that normal route. I'm going to take a different route, right? So that's a perfect example of that. It does require a really strong sense of faith, if you will, in order to believe what it is that is coming to you. And so when you're growing your intuitive abilities, it basically boils down to practicing and being really intentional about your practice when it comes to claircognizance, which is also a big reason why I love tarot. Those who learn tarot and use it, they really intensify these abilities, and because they're able to trust what they get, and because they practice, and if they're reading for other people and they get to see how accurate they are, their confidence in their abilities just skyrockets. I know that was the case for me, but I see that in other people too. And tarot, by the way, is used even by psychologists, therapists, with their clients in order to be able to trust themselves again. And that's really what intuition is about, right? Is being able to trust the information that you get, to trust yourself, and thereby being able to make decisions because you trust yourself. All right, so for claircognizance, people who enjoy philosophy, those who end up as professors, doctors, scientists, religious, spiritual leaders, sales, business leaders even, just have a knowing of how to deliver, how to influence and persuade. If you just happen to know things and are super accurate, then that's probably one of your stronger senses too. So I hope this was informative. This is just a really brief overview of these intuitive abilities. A couple years ago, I had a video that I did, based upon even the types of empaths, but the intuitive abilities can be applied to the different types of empaths that there are. But these really are the main ones that people work on. And so I had a post earlier where I said in the group that I wanted to, to do a class. I believe I said the date was like March 4th in the evening. I haven't really ironed out all the details yet, but it's more of being able to practice, a few of the things, like based upon the people who are there. I was also going to include a clearing around the particular intuitive ability, but I'm gonna figure out some more of the details and share that with you. But I wanted to give you an idea of what these abilities really entail, so you can kind of take a look at yourself and go, okay, maybe these are my top 3. Most people have more than one, and as you start to hone in on your particular intuitive skills, they tend to grow. And that's, I'm saying that based upon my own experience, because I didn't realize exactly what abilities that I did have until someone actually pointed them out. And then I realized what my experiences really were. And that's probably the case with you. And the more that you explore, the more that you practice, and are very intentional with it, you'll be able to, like I said, trust the information that you get and be able to use it for whatever, whether it's in your job or career now, whether you are looking to hone in on your abilities to do something with them in service for other people. That's always a great thing, because whatever you're your natural gifts are, then that's really what you should, be sharing with the rest of the world. So any questions below or any comments, let me know what your strongest abilities are. If you're interested in practicing in a group setting, then comment below or message me. All right, and I will talk to you soon.